far way in the dark here without Grok.
We should bring Grok on as an ombudsman.
Yeah,
the Breaking
Grok,
Point's ombudsman.
Yeah,
we'll have him answering on a rolling screen on the side.
Grok, was that suggestion from Emily valid? I don't hear Grok. Anyway, Grok is glitching out a little bit because of what Elon did to him yesterday. We're also going to be joined by Tara Palmieri, a reporter who has recently gone independent, and we're going to talk to her about a news story she wrote about the GOP deep state. It's called BFF, the Ben Franklin Foundation, inside the State Department. Pretty interesting stuff. Emily, let's start in Doha. We can throw our man up here. Just representing the nation here in Doha. He also walked through one of the emir's palaces, and he walks in and he goes, "Nice house."
Yeah.
Which, like, how does this guy manage to be so funny so consistently? Emily, how does he do it?
Well, what he's saying in the clip that we're showing on the screen is similar. He says, quote, "It's just a magnificent place and you have a great leader." He's been on a roll for the last several days. I think it's because we talked about this a bit yesterday. He so admires the way Gulf states do business, and he loves the pomp and circumstance. He loves the mingling of sort of family with state, with business. It just like speaks his language. It speaks to him on a very deep level. And it's got him out his A game, his comedy A game.
And he really kind of feels like he resents the American system a lot more every time he goes over there. And yesterday he was complaining. He's like, people jumping on me about taking this plane, but our plane's like 40 years old and they have all these gleaming planes.
Yeah.
Like, I've been a real estate developer my whole life. I thought I'd seen every kind of building. I saw like 6 buildings in Riyadh alone that I'd never thought I'd ever see designed on this planet. And I think
he's not like ashamed of it. That's, I think, one of the things people are missing in the Gulf story or in the jet story. It's that he's making a different argument. He's making an argument, and he's doing this throughout Qatar. He's doing this in Saudi Arabia. He's making an argument that these are norms that he is breaking because they're norms that should be broken. Right. He thinks it's a better way to do business. Now, I don't think we agree with that. But it's not like he's trying to hide this like level of corruption. He's saying, no, the corruption. We talked yesterday about how in his Riyadh speech, he drew this dichotomy, which is a false one, I think, between commerce and chaos. We want commerce. We don't want chaos. Of course, commerce and chaos often go hand in hand, but he is trying to stake a new course. That's this interesting blend of like Tom Friedman, McDonald'sism, and anti-nation buildingism. It's very interesting.
And while he's over there, he's drawing enormous amounts of fire from the kind of the pro-Israel section, the neocon section of the Republican and Democratic parties, which includes, and we'll get to this in a moment, a letter, an extraordinary letter from every single Senate Republican except for Rand Paul, effectively trying to blow up his talks with Iran. And it also includes relentless attacks on Qatar itself. Like the kind of neocon wing of the Republican Party is just absolutely just livid and flummoxed that Qatar has managed to basically bribe its way into such a prominent geopolitical position. And making the argument with little self-awareness. We put up A3 here. Barry Weiss's news outlet, the Free Press, ran an extremely long piece that calls itself kind of an investigation of Qatar, as if you need to investigate it. They just said, like, hey, here's a $400 million plane. Like, what's the investigation you need there? But so Barry writes, how did a Qatar, whatever, a refuge of Islamist radicalism, a country criticized for modern-day slave labor, become the center of global politics and commerce? How did this tiny peninsular country of 300,000 citizens manage to so successfully ingratiate itself within the Trump administration? Over the past few months, the Free Press investigated these questions. What we found is that no obstacle, no history, no bad headline is too big for Qatar's money. And so, Emily, I think what frustrates a lot of people about this argument is it can apply equally to Saudi Arabia, to the UAE, and to Israel. All of these countries, have spent heavily, to try to, claw their way into influence inside Washington. I think what drives me nuts about it, and you can probably guess this because you've been hearing me bang on about this for many years, it's like, oh, now all of a sudden you're upset about this Gulf corruption. Like we knew, in the very beginning of the first Trump term, that Jared Kushner was going around the Gulf to Qatar, to the Emiratis, and to the Saudis with his cup out, and that his father and his brother, and we reported all this at the time, were doing the same on behalf of Kushner companies and on behalf of other Kushner operations. Jared Kushner had a failed real estate project called 666 Fifth Avenue. He bought it, the most expensive piece of Manhattan real estate, bought it at the height of the 2000s bubble. Immediately after he buys it, the bubble pops. And his entire family's fortune is at risk because of this purchase that he had made. Foolish purchase. People said at the time it was foolish. I think you and I probably by that point knew that this thing was a bubble. He still paid billions of dollars for it. So then he becomes senior advisor to the president and goes around with his tin cup asking for money from these Gulf countries to bail him out. Qatar at the time initially turns him down because they think it's a terrible investment and they don't understand that this is not on the up and up. He's not asking you for an investment into a wise scheme he's got. He's asking you for a payoff. Nice country you've got here. Shame if something happened to it. Well, shortly after that, something did happen to it. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates launched a blockade, an economic blockade of Qatar, a country that has a base with 10,000 American service members. The Secretary of State immediately intervenes to try to stop this. He's like, this is outrageous. Like, Qatar is one of our most important strategic positions in the Gulf because of this base that we have here. We cannot have them economically blockaded. And we learned later there were even plans being drawn up by Saudi Arabia and the UAE to invade and launch a coup and just take the whole thing over. Rex Tillerson tries to intervene and he gets stomped on by Jared Kushner. And Qatar officials told us afterwards, if we'd have known this was going to be the cost of not investing here, we would have made the investment. Okay, fine. This building's underwater. Doesn't seem like a smart use of our money. If the alternative is getting absolutely smashed by the United States military in support of their Gulf rivals at the time, then they're just going to pay up. They eventually did. Like they kicked in on the Kushner properties. Saudi Arabia gave him $2 billion for his private equity fund after he left office. The Emiratis have done all sorts of business with them as well. So there's really, you can do an investigation, but you could also just use Grok and ask for the public information that's out there. And to Democrats' great discredit, when they controlled Congress, they did nothing on this. They did not subpoena anything, even as Kushner had done this in full public view, effectively, because it was outed in the press. And where was the free press? I guess free press didn't exist yet, but where were these neocons who were so upset about it at the time? Now that
they were happy with the Abraham Accords.
They were happy with the Abraham Accords, exactly. Now that Qatar is helping to broker a nuclear deal with Iran and pressuring Hamas to accept Witkoff's recent proposal that he made yesterday. And now that it looks like we might actually get a regional normalization that could include a pathway to a Palestinian state, though that might still be a pipe dream, but it very much does look like it will include normalization with Syria and Iran. It very much could. Things could still go sideways and we can still get a war, but that's the direction it's heading, and Qatar is playing a significant role in it, which is all a good thing. So now all of a sudden, the corruption has to be called out, and calling it out on when Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates do effectively the same things seems to me a little bit hypocritical. That's my rant.
Well, you also just made me think of an interesting counterfactual, which is had Democrats focused in on Kushner corruption. I mean, this is a man who was a White House advisor, who was working in the White House, and his portfolio was